Having a powerful defensive drive is a key fundamental to building a solid doubles defense. But why?
Well, as a net player, if the defender's not hitting their drive very hard, I can have a very high position and add a lot of pressure, leaving no room at the front. But if the drive is harder, it pushes me further back, making it harder for me to intercept and leaving space at the front for a block shot. So our first tip for creating more power on your drive is actually to do with the elbow. So if Dean takes his setup position here, what we commonly see is his elbow tucked in at the side. Now, what that leaves is very little room in front of his body, between his body and his racket, which we then can't use to swing and create any power for that drive. So what we're wanting Dean to do is actually get this elbow out in front of him. It's not completely locked out, slightly loose, but what we're doing now is creating space between his body, his elbow, and his body and his racket. And now he can use this space to get a nice backswing and punch that drive, creating more power. Now, Dean, I noticed there in your setup you had your racket leg back. Why is that, and how is that linked to having that elbow out in front?
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's something that we see sometimes a little bit wrong with a lot of players that we coach where they have this in front. The reason we have this racket leg set a little bit further behind us, particularly with linking with this elbow in front, is it allows us to kind of pull a little bit more into this space. The inside hip is notoriously a much harder area for us to defend from, rather than the kind of the backhand side. But so by having this racket leg set back, I create even more space, which allows me to bring my elbow up high, to get behind the shuttle and start to play more productive shots from a tougher area in defence.
So if you're watching this video because you want to improve your doubles defence, we have something that can help. If you check out the link in our description, it will take you through to our online coaching platform where we have a doubles defence course that is completely free once you've signed up. So click that link in the description and improve your game. Tip number 2, and now we're moving down the arm towards the wrist. And this is another really common mistake we see, using the elbow to hit our drive instead of the wrist. So if Dean gets into his setup position, if we start using the elbow and he bends here, we're creating a very long, slow swing. He's going to struggle to get much power from here, and it's just not going to get that real swish and snap we want on our drive. If we go to using the wrist now, he can hinge at this wrist for a bit of a backswing, but he can create a lot more speed, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking to punch the speed of someone's smash back, creating a fast, powerful drive.
So another big reason that we don't want to be using that elbow is that the racket will then travel back behind your body. Now, with the racket being a long way from the shuttle, we're naturally going to develop a lot of inconsistencies as we're trying to come forwards and hit that shot. Now, with a shorter swing, it's much easier to control the racket face and manipulate shuttle to where you want to hit it on the court.
Now, Dean, if you can get into your setup position and use that wrist again, what I want you to notice is where his racket finishes after his drive. He gets back straight into position. Now, this is a fundamental because if we're hitting a fast drive and the front plate intercepts it, we need to be back ready nice and quick. Whereas if we start using the elbow, it extends too much, leaving the racket out here, and it's much harder to get back into your position to hit that next drive. And our final tip, and we're once again moving further down the arm here towards the hand, and this is to do with how tight you're holding it. Now, we want a really loose grip when we're defending. Then when we go to drive that shuttle, we're squeezing hard to punch through it. Now, it's easy enough to say, have a loose grip, but in the heat of the moment, when you're playing a badminton match, a lot of us tense up. And this is what we want to bring in here, Dean, is that it's actually about mentality. It's about the confidence to defend.
And this is something I actually really struggle with as a player, because I couldn't help but feel that I was under pressure, that I was in trouble. And actually it's a change of mindset, feeling like it's a positive challenge. It's still good fun to feel like we can move the defence and make sure we're doing it in a proactive way, that we're not feeling like we're just reacting. And hopefully that will start to help loosen that grip. And as David mentioned, it's really important that we're obviously loosening it and then squeezing as we hit. But we also have to remember, once we've hit that first shot, that we have to then loosen the grip again, because if that shot comes back at us and we're tight, again, things can get a little bit reactive.
So when you're defending, what we want you to do is think of it as a bit of fun. It's a challenge. It's something you want to have the confidence of, that person's not going to hit through me, so you can be loose, enjoy it, and then you're going to have a better defence.
So if you don't have a partner that you can work with to practice your defence, what I'd recommend is doing an exercise called wall hitting. It's a fantastic routine to practice the tips that we've mentioned in this video to practice a good, solid defence.
instead. So just to recap on those 3 points. Number 1, having that elbow out in front of you to create space. Number 2, using your wrist to snap through the shuttle instead of your elbow. And number 3, having a loose grip and then squeezing through contact.
So make sure you go away and practice these key fundamentals in your defence and start hitting that backhand defensive drive with purpose.